To keep yourself updated, subscribe to Indigolearn and click the bell icon and download our app OneFin to start learning on the go.
Hello friends, so let's look at the November 22 costing question paper, and let's quickly do a review and analysis of how the question paper was. First and the foremost, the most important thing which I want to tell you is that if there are students who are currently appearing for their exams, please do not waste your crucial time by watching this video at this moment. You can always come back and watch the video after the exams are over. And for the other students who are preparing currently for their examinations and who will be writing their exam in the next upcoming attempts, for them probably we can see how the question paper has come and what are the points that we need to keep in mind, what are the aspects that are being tested upon, and what kind of question papers we can expect. All right, so directly let's jump into the question paper. So the objective here is we are not going to solve the questions one by one. We are just going to understand what is the complexity involved, what are the type of questions that the institute is asking, and what is the kind of preparation that we should be having. All right. Now, the first question that we have is from batch costing. Now, what is the given in this question? They have given a simple example, simple question wherein they are saying certain vaccines are made 80 vaccines at a time. So the process is of a batch, and the batch consists of 80 vaccines. They have given us cost, the direct material, direct labor. These costs are given for each batch, and then they have given up the setup cost. So every time you set up a batch, you're going to incur a cost. Then they are saying the production overheads are absorbed at the rate of 20% of direct wages. So we will take the direct material, we will take the direct wages, we will add the production overheads, and then we get the total production cost. To that total production cost, they are saying you add 20% towards selling, distribution, and admin overheads. Then they further say, the company is willing to earn a profit of 25% on sales value. So you add another 25%, determine what is the total sales value for 1600 monkeypox vaccines and what is the selling price per unit. So this is a pretty simple, straightforward 5-mark question. There are absolutely no complications involved in this question. See, any paper which the institute sets, it is usually set for an average student, and scoring 60% marks is never ever going to be difficult. All right. Of course, there will be some questions which are tough. I'm not saying that all questions are going to be simple. But then the important point is we have to identify those easy questions and crack them. Next. MN Limited uses 7,000 valves per month, which is purchased at a price of rupees 1.50 per unit. They have given some carrying cost to be estimated at 20% of average inventory on annual basis. They have given the cost to place an order and getting the delivery. They have also given the normal time that it takes to get the delivery. And they are saying that you need to maintain a safety stock of 3,200 valves. Now, what is required? They are asking us to find out the economic order quantity and what is the frequency of orders. Now, this question appears to be straightforward, but then in order to find out the economic order quantity, we usually use under root 2 AO by C, where A is the annual demand, in which case we have it 7,500 valves per month. We can multiply by 12. O is given directly to us, and then C, the carrying cost. Now here they have given some estimate of carrying cost. So first we need to crack that. And once we know the carrying cost per unit per annum, then you can find out what is the economic order quantity and what is the frequency. Then simple, once you have the first one, the next two bits are very simple. The reorder point and the economic order quantity if the valve cost 4.5 instead of 1.5. So again, you'll have to recompute the carrying cost and then do the EOQ calculation. Next question, again a 5-mark compulsory question. So ABC Limited sells its product Y at a certain price and it has a certain variable cost. The fixed costs are 16,80,000 per year uniformly incurred. The profit is given as 7,22,000. Now, this question is based on simple marginal costing concepts, basic fundamental. And I see no complications in this question. So if a student has understood marginal costing and has, clear understanding of the concepts, clarity on concepts, then this question is very simple and straightforward. They are asking us to calculate the BEP, both in value and in units, the margin of safety, what are the profits made when the sales are 24,000 units, and they are asking us how much sale should be made in rupees to earn a profit of 10 lakh for the year. So it is a question based on simple, basic, fundamental concepts of marginal costing. All right. Let's go to the second question. So this is a 10-mark question. Now, this question, let me go to the requirements first, and then we will come back and probably try to run through the question. They are asking us to calculate the machine hour rate for the company as a whole when the robot is used and when the robot is not used. And then they are asking us to calculate machine hour rate for the individual jobs. That is, the 3 jobs: vulcanizing, brushing, and stripping. All right. So friends, this question is, from the topic overheads, and what they have given is they have given us certain information about, the manufacturing process, which passes through 3 jobs, namely vulcanizing, brushing, and stripping. Now, all of these jobs require the use of special machine and also the aid of robot when necessary. So they are saying the robot is hired from outside and the hire charges is paid for every 6 months at rupees 2,70,000. Now, in this question, you need to be really careful. Some information they are giving, for half year, 6 months. They will say some information in quarter. Then they will also talk about some information on a annual basis. So we need to be really careful, and we need to understand, what kind of numbers they are talking and what is the period covered. And then further they say during the month. So monthly information, quarterly information, half yearly information, annual information. Very, very carefully, we will have to, attempt this question and solve this question. Now here, I would say this question requires utmost amount of concentration and focus of a student while solving. So as far as information is concerned, it is not tricky. The information given is straightforward, but they are testing the focus. They are testing the patience of student. All right. So rent is given on a quarterly basis. Depreciation cost of that special machine is given on an annual basis. Other indirect expenses to be recovered at 20% of wages they have given. Then factory manager has informed that in the coming year, the total direct wages will be 12 lakhs. So again, this is annual, which will be incurred evenly throughout the year. So convert it to whatever period is required. And what is the period required? They want us to calculate for the month. Now, during the first month, the following details are available from the job book. Number of hours the special machine was used. So how do we approach this question? We will take the total cost. We will arrive at the total number of hours with the aid of robot, without the aid of robot. That robot cost, whatever is they're hiring, that we will charge only to the, hours where robot is used. All other cost will take the total number of hours. So we will divide it, calculate the machine hour rate. And, also we can do it for the individual jobs. So question is simple. Calculations require focus. 6 marks question. A skilled worker in PK Limited is paid a guaranteed wage rate of 15 per hour in a 48-hour week. The standard time to produce is 18 minutes. So they have given the wage rate, they have given the standard time. So this looks like a question either on labor costing or on standard costing. Let's look at the requirement. Calculate wages under each of the following. So time rate, piece rate, Halsley, and Rowan. So this is a question from labor costing. So during a week, skilled worker has produced 200 units of the product. The company has taken a drive for cost reduction and wants to reduce the labor cost. You are required to calculate wages of Mr. A under each of the following. Time rate. What is time rate? Basically multiply the time that he has spent with the rate 15. Piece rate, number of units produced by the piece rate. Now piece rate, is it given in the question? It is not given. But what is given is it is a 48-hour week period and 18 minutes required for each unit. So you can calculate how many total minutes are required, divided by 18, you'll get the standard output in a week. So, you can calculate what is the piece rate and kind of do the calculation. Then Halsley premium plan, Rowan premium plan. A pretty simple, straightforward question. Only trick point here is your, calculation of the piece rate. Once you know that, rest of it is simple. They are also asking your suggestion. Which bonus plan should the company follow? So wherever the company is getting benefit based on the calculations, we need to follow that. Next question for 4 marks. So XYZ is engaged in manufacturing 2 products, express coffee, instant coffee. It furnishes the following data for the year. So for the 2 products, they have given the output, the total machine hours, total number of POs, total number of setups. So this looks like a question on activity-based costing system. The annual overheads are as under: processing cost, setup cost, and purchase related costs. So they have given us 3 activity drivers. They are also given us 3 cost items. So we can use that and calculate the method, requirement. So what is the requirement? Compute the cost allocated from each activity on the basis of activity-based costing system. They are also wanting us to find out the overhead cost per unit of each product. So this is a very simple, easy 4-mark question. No complications involved at all. Next, 3A, XYZ Construction Limited. Looks like a question on contract costing. Has obtained a contract of rupees 25 lakhs in the financial year 21-22. The work on the contract commenced immediately and is expected that the contract will be completed by March 23. So 2 years are involved, 21-22, 22-23. They have given the actuals for first year and estimated for the second year. So, we have solved multiple questions like this in our classes. Here, I am assuming they will ask us to calculate what is the total estimated profit on the contract, and they will ask us to draw up the contract account for the first year. Now, are there any complications or special adjustments involved here? Let's find out. Material issued, simple. Wages paid. So prepaid at the end of the year. So we will have to adjust that. Deduct for year, add it to the second year. Plant, sundry expenses paid. Again, adjustment for outstanding at the end of the year. Office expenses paid, adjustment for outstanding at the end of the year. Contingency expenses. So all those items we need to adjust for. Then following additional information is also available. A part of plant costing 12,000 was scrapped and written off in 21-22. So, prima facie first reading, all these adjustments look very normal and straightforward. The company would have spent additional sum of 80,000 on the plant, and the residual value of the plant on the completion of the contract would be 10,000. So these are very simple, straightforward adjustments, no complications involved. Only thing, this is a little lengthy question when compared to the other questions for 10 marks. What are we required to do? We are required to prepare a contract account for the year 22, that is the first year, and calculate estimated total profit on this contract. So we have done multiple questions on contract costing, and all these adjustments have been covered by us previously. Let's look at the next question. 10 marks. N Limited produces a product which passes through 2 processes, process 1 and process 2. So this is a question, from process costing. So more or less the feel that I'm getting while I read this, question paper for the first time is that they have kind of tried to cover all the chapters, and they are, giving fair treatment to each and every chapter and asking questions from everything. So our preparation always has to be thorough. It is not that we can leave any one concept in choice. That choice does not work here. We need to be prepared with everything. All right. You may leave certain questions in choice while attempting, but don't leave topics in choice while preparing. That is the lesson that we need to learn. So the company has provided following information related to the financial year 21-22. So they have given process 1 account, process 2 account, raw material cost, direct wages, direct expenses, manufacturing overhead, realizable value of scrap per unit, the normal loss, the units transferred to process 2 and finished account. So These are all simple, straightforward calculations, no complications involved. What are we required to do? We are required to prepare the process one account, process two account, and the finished stock account. So this is really simple question for 10 marks. I think a student should jump in joy if we get questions like this. And we have covered, more complicated questions like this where we have certain opening work in progress and all of that stuff. But here we do not have any opening or closing work in progress. So the moment we do not have any opening work and closing work in progress, 50% of the complication is eliminated. So we should be really very happy when we get such questions. All right, let's look at the next question. So 4A. Let's look at the requirement to understand from where this question is. You are required to rank the crops on the basis of contribution per hectare. Determine the optimum product mix considering all the three cereals are to be produced. Calculate the maximum profit. So this question is a very, very, very interesting question. See, by the way, so friends, I always kind of go to the requirements first to understand from which topic this question is. And it gives me a feeling by looking at the question as to, what is the level of complexity involved. Now, when I see rank the crops on the basis of contribution per hectare, that means I am assuming that they must have given us information about the selling price for three items or three crops, whatever are there. They must have given us the variable cost involved. They must have given us the fixed cost involved. And that is where they are wanting us to calculate contribution per hectare. Now, once we calculate the contribution per hectare, they are wanting us to rank the crops on that basis. Whichever crop is giving us the highest contribution per hectare, rank 1. Next crop, rank 2. Last crop, rank 3. So that kind of calculation we have to do. Then they are saying determine the optimum product mix. Now see, this I would say is a question which they have kind of borrowed from the CA final syllabus and given a question in your CA Inter. And there is one more reason for doing this. The reason that I can perceive is that they have removed the costing paper from a exam mode to a distance learning, self-learning mode in your final. That strategic cost evaluation and performance evaluation paper, SCMP, what we used to have, they have removed that and moved it to self-learning. Now that they have removed, so whatever concepts of costing they have to really test, they are going to test it at the Inter level. Now, this is a question which I would usually expect in a CA final question paper, which they have brought it in the Inter. So the learning that I'm getting or the preparation that we should have is we should also now start looking at questions involving decision making at the Inter level. There can be a chance, or I would rather say there is a very good chance that the institute is going to ask you decision making questions in marginal costing. So they may give a simple concept oriented question either as a 4-mark question or a compulsory 5-mark question, but the 10-mark question we can expect it to be on decision making. Now, when they say optimum product mix, we have to choose between the products. We have to make maximum utilization of the resources available. So usually there are some limited resources. We have to identify what is that limited resource and put that limited resource to the best use so that we get optimum or maximum profitability. Then they are also asking us to calculate what is the maximum profit that can be achieved if the total fixed cost per annum is 21,45,000. So if you are able to answer bit 2, only then you will be able to answer bit 3. So we need to be prepared. Let's quickly, see what the question is all about. The company is having 210 hectares of land. See, if they had unlimited land, they could have done unlimited manufacturing. But here land is the limiting factor. Land is the constraint. We have to put land to the best possible use and can be engaged in, growing 3 different cereals, namely wheat, rice, and maize. The yield of the crops and their selling prices are given below. So per hectare, how many kgs we are getting that they have given, selling price per kg they have given the variable cost per kg. So very carefully you calculate what is the sales value per crop per hectare, calculate what is the variable cost, per crop per hectare, calculate the contribution, and then calculate what is the contribution per hectare. Rank them. Till here it is simple. Now the complication is this. The company has a policy to produce and sell all three kinds of crops. The maximum and minimum area to be cultivated for each crop is as follows. See, if there were no limitations, if there was only, one product, and if I had unlimited demand, or rather if there were three products and I can produce and sell as much as I want for each of the product, which product would I do? For the best product, because that will give us the best profit, maximum profit. But here they are giving us some conditions. There is maximum what you can do, there is minimum that you have to do. So when minimum, maximum kind of criteria and limiting factor is there, first you have to make sure that minimum you are doing. So out of the total land of, how many acres? 210 acres. We have to do minimum 100, 40 and 10. So for 150 hectares, there is no decision making. Balance 60, for balance 60, we have to decide whether we will do wheat, rice or maize. But that too, we have to keep in mind that there is some maximum that we can do and not beyond that. So that kind of evaluation has to be done and that should be given in the answer. So I'm really happy seeing this question. It's a good question and deserves 10 marks for it. Let's look at the next question for 10 marks. Again, let's go to the requirement and see what it is and then come back. You are required to prepare a cost sheet for the cloth masks showing cost per unit and total cost, profit per unit and total profit. So this is a question from cost sheet. So they are giving us a 10-mark question in preparation for the preparation of cost sheet. Let's quickly run through the question and see what it is. So the company manufactures two types of mask, disposable mask and cloth mask. Cost data for the year ended 31st March is as follows. So they have given us direct material, direct wages, production overhead, total. Now, is this cost for disposable mask or for cloth mask? That we don't know. That maybe they will give us further information. Why that is important? Because they are asking us to prepare the cost sheet only for cloth mask. So the total information has to be bifurcated between disposable mask and cloth mask, and then the cost sheet has to be prepared only for cloth mask. All right. It is further ascertained that direct material cost per unit of cloth mask was twice as much as that of the direct material cost per unit of disposable mask. So you need to fit in the algebraic equation, find out 80% of those of cloth mask. Production overhead per unit was same for both the types. So definitely you need some algebra. You need to fit in equations. You need to take each cost item. You need to assume certain, cost per unit of cloth mask or disposable mask and try to solve it. For example, direct material cost of cloth mask is twice as much of direct material for disposable mask. So we will say let X be the cost for cloth mask per unit. Then 2X will become the cost of disposable mask. And we need to use that X and 2X, fit it in an equation so that the total direct material cost is 12,50,000, solve for X. Like that we'll have to do for each line item. Administration overhead was 50% of production overhead for each type of mask. Selling cost was given, selling price is given, number of cloth masks sold 45,000 is given. So a lot of information is there. So this I would say is a little different kind of a cost sheet question. Otherwise what they usually give is they give some opening stock of raw material, closing stock of raw material. They will give quantity of raw material purchased. They will give R&D expenditure, factory overheads, admin overheads, R&D cost, quality cost, etc. And then ask us to prepare a cost sheet. Here, the detailing and the number of line items are not much. But the main challenge or the main task is to split the cost between the two and prepare only the cost sheet for, cloth mask. So I would not call this question as difficult, just that you need to be a little careful and patient while solving the question. Let's go to the next question for 10 marks. So here what I see is, more and more questions for 10 marks are being given, which in a way is a nice thing because you will have more time in hand. Usually what happens is 4 marks, 5 marks, 6 marks. Those are, questions which do take time, but we don't get enough marks for that. But when it is a 10-mark question, even though it is lengthy, we will have enough time in hand to do that. All right. Y Limited manufactures product M, requires 3 types of raw material A, B, C. Following information is given. So they have given us standard material input required for 1000 kg of finished product. And then they are saying during the period company produced 20,000 kgs of M, where the actual quantity consumed and the purchase price has been given. You are required to calculate material cost variance, material price variance, material usage variance, material yield variance. So this is a very, very simple basic question on standard costing for 10 marks. Trust me, you cannot get a question simpler than this from standard costing for 10 marks. There is no missing number, no other variances involved, simple only material variance. We should be very, very happy. And I will say this is easy peasy 10 marks that the institute is giving. We should very happily take it. All right, next. Now this is a question for 5 marks. X Limited follows non-integrated accounting system, meaning separate accounting financial records, separate cost related records. So this is from cost accounting system, 5-mark question. Now, since it is a 5-mark question, I'm not expecting they will ask us to pass journal entries or prepare all the accounts. Most likely it will be a reconciliation question. All right. So financial accounts of the company show a net profit of 5,50,000 for year ended 31st March 22. Chief accountant of the company has provided following information from the financial accounts and cost accounts. So they have given us the financial accounts profit. Most likely they will ask us arrive at the profit as per costing records. So let's look at the requirement first. Find out the profit and loss as per the cost account by preparing a reconciliation statement. It was as expected. So it again is a simple, question, won't take much time. You just have to add some items, delete or deduct some items. Only thing is you should know the treatment. If you know that, it is a quick 5-minute solution for 5 marks. Now, legal charges provided in financial accounts, it is there only in costing. So add back interim dividend credited in financial, deduct from the financial profit. Preliminary expenses written off in financial, add back. Over recovery of selling cost. So, like that, one by one, you need to look at it and do the reconciliation. None of the, adjustment items look difficult or tricky. We have done many questions like this. It is a simple 5-mark given to us. Next question for 5 marks. ASR Limited produces product L and gets a byproduct M out of a joint process. So this, I think, is adopted from the RTP which was given, and it is a very simple, straightforward question. So there is only one product and then there is a byproduct. They are saying the net realizable value of the byproduct is used to reduce the joint production cost before the joint costs are allocated to the main product. Obviously, whenever we have, byproducts, the net realizable value of that byproduct is to be reduced from the main product cost. So that they are asking us specifically, or rather I will say, giving a hint of what is to be done. Simple question again, these are easy 5 marks available on record. So to be honest, there were only, 2 questions which I found really different or tricky till this point in time. One was your decision making, which was, those 3 crops, etc. And second was your first question, which was, requiring lot of calculation, yearly, quarterly, monthly, annual. So that was also easy, but it required a lot of patience from student. You're required to find out what is the profit earned and find out selling price of the product L if the company wishes to earn a profit of 1 lakh from the above production. So I would rate this question as simple. Then sixth question, answer any four of the following. Which system of inventory management is known as demand pull or pull through just in time? Specify two principles on which the system is based. So a simple theory question for 5 marks. Indicate the following items, whether to be shown in cost accounts or financial accounts. Student should be very, very happy. Ask me why. 5 marks question on same topic, same concept from cost accounting was given as a practical question. And now they are giving a theory question for 5 marks, same items. 2-3 items are similar also. For example, preliminary expenses written off. If a student knows it correctly, there also he will get 1 mark, here also he will get 1 mark. What else does a student require from the examination? Simple, easy 5 marks. All right. So we have to write whether they will accounts or financial accounts. That simple classification. For example, rent receivable. It is only going to come in financial accounts, not in cost accounts. Goodwill written off, only financial accounts, not cost accounts. So I think all of those points have been covered at depth in our classes earlier. No complications involved. Next, PP Limited is in the process of implementing activity-based costing system. For this purpose, it has identified the following business functions: R&D, design, customer service, marketing, distribution. You are required to specify 2 cost drivers for each business function identified above. What can be more easier than this? Customer service, number of customer visits, number of customer complaints. Imagine any 2 cost drivers, number of units sold. Just give it there. You will get easy 5 marks. The questions cannot get simpler from this. In fact, before the examination, so many students were asking, sir, from where should we prepare theory questions? From where should we prepare theory questions? See, 2 questions, 10 marks, these are only practical. So, whether financial accounts, cost account, it is not theory, it is a practical question, concept oriented. Similarly, what are the 2 cost drivers? Examples, practical oriented. Not much of theory has been expected from the institute here. Define budget manual. What are the salient features of budget manual? A simple question on budgeting. Again, mention the cost units, physical measurements for the following industry or product. How can they make a life of student easier? Such a simple question paper. All the theory questions, but for 2, have been practical oriented. Automobile, number of cars, number of units, number of bikes. Bricks, per 100 bricks, per batch, per 1000 bricks. Chemical, oil, brewing, cement. So if you have gone through the fundamental concepts, so this is the first initial concept that we learn in costing. What are cost units? Simple question on that. All right. So this was the question paper for November 22. But for 20 marks, I would say rest 80 marks. Or rather, we have a total of 120 marks with the choice. So, but for that 20 marks, rest 100 marks was very, very simple and easy. Average student could have easily scored about 60 or 65 in this question paper, provided 1, good state of mind, peaceful, calm, and he or she has understood and read the concepts thoroughly. These are the only 3 requirements. So with this, we finish our review and analysis of the question paper. Next, what we will do is in times to come, we will do an in-depth analysis of the solution. So we will solve all of the questions and we will look at the solutions also. But for now and for today, we complete our analysis. Thank you, friends.